I'm Olivia Otieno. This is Double O Direct, woman host, music by women artists. And last Saturday was World Autism Day, and I was joined by Sanai Payne Tamama, Pooja Panesa, Professor Josephine Arasa, and Dr. Susan Wamithi. 4 women that are helping to shed light on what autism is, how it can be diagnosed, and what, if any, treatment options are available. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of hosting Sylvia Moraa Mochabo. Welcome to Double O Direct.
Thank you very much, Double O.
It is so nice to have you. Asked me, how should I dress? I said, bring the full regalia. Huh? I want the crown. I want the sash. I want the hair and the lashes. Full 100. Yes. It's so nice to meet you.
The pleasure is all mine.
So tell me, who is Sylvia?
So Sylvia is an entrepreneur, a mom, and an activist, not the one who walks down the road, but I champion for inclusion of persons with neurodevelopmental disabilities. I know that's a long name.
Neurodevelopmental disabilities. Okay, nimesema.
So autism is one of them.
Yes.
And like you said and mentioned earlier, we're celebrating World Autism Awareness Month. That's why I'm rocking it all blue. We're all blue this whole month.
Love
we're
it.
saying light it up blue.
Yes.
And I'm a mother of 3 boys, 2 of whom are on the autism spectrum, and I call them my teachers.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So how did you get into activism and into the space of neurodevelopmental issues?
As a mother,
Yes.
in this country and in Africa, I've walked that journey of I don't know what's going on. Then you're told your child has autism. You have no idea what that means.
Yes.
Then after a while, I was told when my other child seems to, I'm like, no, wait, hold up.
Are they twins?
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're 18 months apart.
All right.
Yeah. So that walk, that struggle, trying to find education, trying to find anyone who understands the stigma that came with it from society. And I was like, am I in this alone? Then I am a Rotarian, and we hold an annual event called Sunshine Rally.
Yes.
Where we bring disabled kids together. And that day I was like, I am not alone, and this thing is wide. Then I asked myself, we only do this once a year as Rotarians. What more can I do? And that's why I founded Andy Speaks. My motivation being, I want to prepare the way for the next diagnosed parent. I don't want them to feel the way I felt when I got the diagnosis. I don't want them to suffer trying to figure out their way through in education. I want to make their life easier because it can happen to anyone.
Yes.
And also enlighten the society because our children are segregated. Our children are set aside as if autism is something that's contagious. Their challenges are not understood. And for us as parents, it breaks us. So I want to be the voice actually for our children because they can't speak for themselves. And you will find at least someone who has a physical disability, they will stand and say, oh, I need prosthesis. Oh, I need this. But our kids can't even understand
They have
a
development.
yes, because they just, especially in their own way, they're in their own world and nothing else matters. But for you as a parent, when you step outside, when you get branded, when you get named Mama wa ule mtoto mwenda wazimu, that weird child, we feel the pain. For them, they might not, but it catches up when they're teenagers. So we need to include them. We need to change our perceptions and just embrace them for who they are. Understand.
That is so powerful. I just want to rewind slightly and understand who you are, because you're wearing a sash, you're wearing a crown.
Yes.
You're a mother of 3. So give me a little background on Sylvia pre-Andy Speaks. Sylvia, I don't know if everything happens simultaneously in your life. Sometimes things converge like that.
Yes.
But as a full rounded person, right? In as much as we are highlighting autism and neurodevelopmental disorders or issues, I want to find out, because there's more to these women, there's more to these mothers, there's more to these families than autism.
Exactly. We are every other regular family, and what you will find that I always have to remind myself, I am Sylvia before I am mom, before I am sister, before I am anything.
Did Sylvia go to university?
No, Sylvia was a rebel, so she knew what she wanted.
Yes.
I'm a graphic designer and a brand consultant.
Yes.
So I actually was the best fine art student in my year. Let me use this statement. I went to Alliance.
Yes.
For those who want to throw stones, bring it on.
Okay, we see that. Yes.
But yeah, I studied graphic design, and then I went on to work, and then I got poached, and I got into business. So I ran my own company called Tech Hub Holdings, which has 3 subsidiaries: Tech Hub Creations, Tech Events, and Tech Hub Enterprises. And that's what I do in the daily life. And like you asked, I didn't go to university. I went to the college that I believe was the highest highest level of the future, because at
Yes.
that time when I was going to college, everyone was still doing the old school fine art, and they were already moving towards computer aided design.
Yes.
And that's what now you find, like all these digital spaces, y'all can't live without us.
Amazing. And how did you get into pageantry?
Pageantry, when I was 18, I saw Miss World and I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. When I went for the next auditions, I was 1 inch short. I was like crushed, and I packed that. And then I set my 5-year goal in 2015. And I was like, every childhood dream I wanted, I will achieve it.
Yes.
And it was one on the list. And then a friend of mine told me, have you ever thought of modeling? And I'm like, I am old. I am over 30. I have kids. Where would I go? Then she told me about Africa pageants.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay, I can try. We were living here for an interview for Sunshine
Yes.
Ride. Downstairs, she was taking a photo. She's like, have you ever thought about modeling? I was like,
Yes.
no. She handheld me, connected me with the person. I applied, I got in. It was my first time. And you know when God wants to do something,
Yes.
and he already knows where he's taking you?
Yes.
That's the time I went and I came back with 3 crowns and 19 awards.
I love it. I
Yes.
love it. It's absolutely amazing. We're going to go into marriage,
Yeah.
family, and of course, Andy Speaks.
Okay.
And if anybody's looking for information, all they have to do is search for Andy Speaks
Yes.
for
Yes.
SNP.
SNP.org.
I'm Olivia Otieno. This is Double O Direct, a safe space for all women, women hosts, guests, women music, women from 10 a.m. every Saturday. Coming up, got some Thelma Houston, but as we marked World Autism Day last Saturday, we at the Standard Group are committing to raising awareness so that those on the spectrum may get the support they need. I am joined by Sylvia Moraa Mochabo. She's the founder of Andy Speaks, pageant queen, entrepreneur, mother, activist. It is very emotional for you. You have 2 children on the spectrum. How is the dynamic between your second and third born and your firstborn who is not on the spectrum?
It was challenging at first.
Yes.
Because at that point, especially being a single parent, that's the only other close person you have. And he's a boy. He had to grow up very, very fast. He had to learn how to manage the times we're having meltdowns. He, of course, couldn't understand. And, of course, I had now to start teaching him, and also all the things you read and you try and make him understand that we have to make sacrifices. So in his life, he was dealing with 2 things. And the end of the marriage, and he had changed schools because of the difficulties. He was being bullied. Thank God I picked that in good time, because it totally affected him. And some of these things I was just finding out just recently of how bad school bullying is. Because when you go there and the teachers are defending the perpetrators, and then you come home, you're dealing with this let me not call it thing, but situation that you don't understand. Why are my brothers not the same like me, like everyone else? So I was just talking him through, and we had to now come up with code words, like when Andrew is convulsing, he knows what to reach out for, where it is. And the funny thing about now what autism is like, you find it's a spectrum.
Yes.
As much as I have 2, they're totally different. Andrew's condition and his symptoms and challenges and strengths are totally different from Bradley's. But then you find over time, because I took so long before I could actually accept that Bradley is on the spectrum. And I did that just before I founded Andy Speaks, is when I was like, wait a minute, this is the reality. Because sometimes you just don't, it felt like the world was unfair. Like,
Yes.
why would I be going through all these things? I'm only one person, and going at it alone is not easy. So Daniel had to really, really grow up very fast.
Does he have a relationship with his father?
No.
Does your ex support you in any
No.
way? Okay. When it comes to trials and tribulations, and when it comes to neurodevelopmental issues, how have your circle, those you consider family, those you consider friends, those you consider confidants, been there for you in any way? Where has the support come from?
Sometimes that question makes me unsure of how to answer it, because one thing you will find, everyone will tell you, if you need anything, you can call on me, count on me. But when that moment comes, very few will take it up. Very, very few will take it up. So you have to learn how to adjust by yourself. I have like, this is my friend for this is my friend for that, this is my friend like That is the easiest way, not to
Okay.
expect everything from one person.
Yes.
Not to expect that people will always be there for you. That is something I had to learn the hard way. And I had to grow a thick skin, because sometimes you're like, I am that friend there for you. But then when I need you, you are not there. If I go quiet, if I don't reach out, very few will be like, hey, what's up? Some will be like, oh, you don't talk to me anymore. But no one really understands what you're dealing with.
Interaction between your children and children of people you know or are close to. What is that like?
I'll give you one story, short one.
Yes.
Where I used to live before where I am. One day, Saturday morning used to be the only day I sleep in, at least like until 10. But the boys would wake up, go outside. So through my window, I could hear the kids playing. It was a child's birthday. And they were like, Daniel, come for my birthday. And I've taught my son to always stand up for his brothers. And he's like, oh yeah, I come with my brothers. He's like, no, they're weird. And that was my proudest moment. My son stopped the game. They were playing football. I was like, my brothers are not weird. You just need to take time to know them and understand them. That's the time you're like, it is working. Like, I'm teaching him something and he knows how to do it. And I was so proud of him, because I always say, like, if you're not fully in, all of us, none of us is there. That's
Yes.
the family rule. So if you invite us and you're not okay, because the first thing you have to understand, hyperactivity and all that. And when we're at it, when it's too much, what people don't understand, all we need is love and understanding. Sometimes when you just say, Sly, let me come sit with the boys for 1 hour for me to sleep, you could have done me the greatest favor. Andrew couldn't sleep. I was going to bed at like 3 a.m. and I had to be here. I can't cancel that, And then sometimes you just want someone to just sit, let you vent. Don't say anything. Don't tell me you understand, because you might not understand. As much as you want to, you might not understand. Just listen to me. Those days when I call you as my girl, like, hey, are you going out? Just know I need that breather. When I take that road trip or I just decide to go, I just need that break. That is what levels you up to be sane enough to come back to deal with it. And other caregivers need to find that space of what it is works for you, that recharges your batteries, because you can be depleted. Suicidal thoughts come. You have to identify them and deal with them. There are days you're like, God, I can't do this no more. But you have to continue. There are days I just walk away, because I know if I stay. When you hear stories of parents losing themselves in anger and all that, it's not you resent your child. It's just that at the end of the day, you're also human. At the end of the day, you also get tired, you feel frustrated, you want someone to talk to, you want someone to hold you and tell you it's going to be okay.
Sylvia, you've given me so much food for thought. You've given me the motivation to reach out to people that I think I haven't reached out to in a long time. But I want to find out the transition now from saying, okay, there's not that much support out there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start Andy Speaks and your relationship with the medical profession. So talking about doctors, talking about therapists, talking about nurses in your journey to founding Andy Speaks.
Okay. So, like I mentioned, after the Sunshine Rally, and I was like, I need to do something. But then what was the greatest question for me was like, God, why me? Yes, they say try me, but these trials were just too much for one person. So I had to take time out. The first thing I did when I recognized this is going to be one of the hardest things when I found my other son was I went for alabastron. I realized there was so much in the past when we were growing up as kids. There's so much we take in as women. And that gave me a base of a renewed charge.
What is alabastron?
Alabastron is it's a program for women, for them to discover themselves, for them to appreciate who they are, and then also handle everyone else. Drop that baggage that maybe someone told you something when you were growing up and you've carried it through your life and it's affecting your life and you don't know about
Someone
it.
told me I'm a poor communicator and it's really affecting my life. No, but seriously, we are back on that. Yes.
Okay. So after that, that's at the same time I was doing my 5-year plan and all of that.
Yes.
And I kept asking God, why? Show me why. And the sad reality, the wake-up call was, we had a photo. 2 of my friends died, my inner circle, like 1 year the next year. So Janet passed on after delivery and she had gotten everything. She was the most prayerful in the group, the perfect daughter. And then
was it as a result of the pregnancy
yes,
the
after
delivery?
After delivery. And she had this beautiful guy. I mean, like, why didn't God allow her to? She's always wanted this. Then there was Ngendo who died out of lupus, but she had survived. This is someone who would check in my house. We sit, we exchange clothes, or like, and you just make fun out of it. Like, hey, your hair is, here's a wig,
Exactly.
you're losing weight. Now you're in my size. Here is some clothes. Then she leaves my house. We say we're going for a memorial for Janet the next week, and she died. So I look at this photo and I'm like, we are 3. I'm the only one alive, and I'm like, God, I am the one who has, I don't pray. I got to a point I couldn't pray. I couldn't believe God can be so cruel. So I'm looking at this photo and I'm like, I am next. Or have I lived my life? That panic mode you get into. So I started like, God, I need to know what my purpose in life is. If these most prayerful women with a perfect marriage and all this and struggles, me, why am I here? So I went on a self-definition process. And I remember I went to my sister. I told my sister, I just have to go. I remember I met Dr. Patricia Morongami. She came I am a brand consultant. She wanted to rebrand. And in the middle of the conversation, the women you connect with, like it's like divine. And I told her my situation. And it's like she gave me permission to go and do it. And that's when one day I was in church, a lady comes and said, God says he loves you. It didn't make sense. Every time I'm reading motivational books, it was the same story.
Yes.
Be the voice. And then every time I opened the Bible, it was the same. Proverbs 31, 8-9. Be the voice for those who cannot speak and ensure justice is done. I went to New York for my cousin's funeral. And when I'm there, some lady walks up to me and said, God says he loves you. And I'm thinking, what is going on? That time you think you're going crazy,
you're getting
right?
message after message after
and I'm
message.
like, what is going on?
Yes.
And then I remembered I've been asking the same question. Then something happened with Andrew. He was wearing a shoe. Inside were, our heels, those replacement heel.
Insoles.
Yes, not the insoles, the heels, the tip.
Okay.
So I took mine to be fixed and one of his shoes to be fixed. Then the fundi put them inside his shoe. Do you know he spent the whole day with those things? I could see him limping. I can't find. I remove. I check his legs. He's fine. There is no wound. So I'm imagining how many other things he went through. And that's where now Andy speaks for special needs persons. How many more things do we parents go through? Do our children go through? They can't say it out loud. They're suffering in pain and in silence. So that is where now I got that statement and understanding. I was given these children, like I said, to be my teachers, to walk this journey that now when I stand up and I say, as caregivers, when a person comes to me, I know exactly when you're telling me you don't have food, you can't afford medication. When I stand, I'm not talking from what I read. I'm talking about what I've walked in my life.
I can't believe that you've gone through all of this and you've come out so much stronger on the end. And to anybody listening who requires communication, who requires to get in touch with Andy Speaks, the number 4, SNP, Special Needs Persons.org.
Yes.
In fact, they should just Google Andy Speaks for special needs persons. They'll get information there. I want to thank you so much, Sylvia. I think it's the first time we're interacting.
Yes.
It's not the last time we're interacting.
Sure.
And as we continue this Autism and Neurodevelopmental Awareness Month, I hope to welcome you back to Double O Direct.
Anytime, any day, I'll always be here.
Parting words?
Embrace difference. They are different and special, but they're humans just like you. We're all candidates of disability. You can step outside and get hit by a car, you'll be disabled. You'll get cancer, you depend on anyone else. For them, it's not their choice. As parents, it's not our choice. We did not wish for this. So when you're telling someone there is something you must have done, remember, it's not our responsibility. No one in the world knows the cause of autism. We just have hypotheses. So next time you see that child having a meltdown, don't say the way they're I'm such a bad mother, that child is misbehaved. Take a moment. Maybe you can imagine yourself, you can't communicate. They can't communicate something. Imagine being in that position. Put yourself in their shoes. And for us as parents, there are times we don't know, there is no manual. We can't do anything about it. Love, embrace, because difference is part of us.
Sylvia Moraa Mochabo, Andy Speaks for SNP.org.
Spice.